Welcome to Beyond the System, a journey through foster care. My name is Shondale Atkinson, and the foster care system is a world I know all too well. The system, that's what they called it, a maze of social workers, court dates, and unfamiliar faces. I was born into the foster care system in 1977. One of 5 children. Then at 17, I became a single mom myself. This is my story, a story of resilience, overcoming the abuse, the neglect, and separation from family. Join me as we go beyond the statistics and headlines, as we highlight the trials, the tribulations, and the triumphs of those impacted by the foster care system.
The crack epidemic ruined families because no one was going to work, no one couldn't pay the bills, and the money they was getting, they was spending it all on drugs.
Do I think it's a lost cause as far as still, dealing with the aftermath of crack cocaine? I don't ever think that anybody or anything is a lost cause. I think that if we all come together, like this documentary starts shedding light on it, because there's so many people that still smoke crack cocaine, still right now, and it's not even real crack, and they are still smoking it. That stuff now, which was very instrumental in me stopping 6.5 years ago, after being clean for 6 years.
I remember everything. I remember being a juvenile delinquent. I remember the physical abuse, the neglect, and the mental abuse from my mom. I remember the deviant behaviors I did to my family as far as taking their credit cards, taking their checks. I also remember going in and out of the Cleveland detention home. I also remember going to several group homes and just running away from the group homes and different things like that. So there was no therapy there for as a type of intervention. We pretty much served our time and went back home to the same environments that we got in trouble in.
So my mom would have a friend that I guess they knew caseworkers was coming, because of course we have a caseworker to come out, and I do remember that they would always come out for me. So I'm like, okay, so I'm the only one. Of course, I was living with my aunt. So it took me a while because I didn't understand, like, why does this lady keep coming out here for me? And every time she comes, I'm the one coming to live with my mom. Everybody else will wonder about their business, So as a child, that wasn't really explained to me. So I'm growing up now, I'm like, okay, so they were coming out, to check on things. And when they came out one time, we didn't have food. And that time stood out to me the most because my mom friend would come over every day and try to make sure we had stuff. But this time she just wasn't fast enough. And the lady come in there and she's just like looking in cabinets, refrigerator, and I could just remember everybody screaming up. She's like, I'm going to the store right now. Her mama will be right back. They'll be right there. We hadn't seen my mama all day. We hadn't seen my mama, ain't heard from her, hadn't ate. And she's like, who put some food in here right now? My lady wasn't going to work. Let's go. They got to go. She took all of us up out of there. And I remember my brother, he just passed away, Lord rest his soul. He was like my twin. Like we were the ones closer in age. We were like 11 months apart. They were taking us, and he took off running. Oh my God, took off running because he already knew. He was one of the ones who was also. He knew. He was older. We was the same. So it was like he knows this like gonna take us. We must be back with the people we don't know. He wasn't going. He took off running. The police like chasing. But it was just one thing that stood out to me before I thought about it at his funeral. He sat in the car and we sitting in the back of the police cruiser because we had to wait. It was too many of us. And he was sitting back there. He's like, I'm about to run, Ashley. I'm about to run. Come with me. I'm like, no. I'm scared, but I'm like, no, don't run. He's like, I'm about to run. And I remember sitting there and he's like, I'm gone. He got out that car and took off. And I just remember sitting there like, run, you run. Just like run. Because I'm like, I don't know. We knew we were in a messed up situation. That's crazy because when we were older talking about it, we knew we weren't eating. We knew we wasn't really, we didn't want to go.
Like,
a therapist for foster kids is unique because you have no idea what you're stepping into. I've been called out to do assessments for kids that have been placed literally the night before. So sometimes I literally have no idea what I'm getting into or what the child has been through, what the situation was, where the parents were coming from, who the foster parents are. Sometimes I'm meeting them that moment, that day. So I have to take an assessment of everything, everybody, what they've been through, and then try to figure out a treatment plan for them, a treatment plan for the foster family, so that we can all kind of come together and help these children.
As far as surprises being a foster mom, I'm not really surprised, honestly. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be easy because, of course, raising children is not easy. But I guess I didn't expect for the kids to draw to me the way they did. So, like, especially, I remember I had a 12-year-old. Honestly, I thought, because the older kids have such a bad reputation. So, I thought I was going to have a lot of issues with him, but he came and it was like he was at home. Like, he literally was fine. Like, I didn't have no issues with him whenever I, asked him to do something. He did it. Most of the time, I didn't even ask him. Like, he would take out the trash and I'd be like, oh, I was going to do that. He's like, no, I got it. When I would go grocery shopping, he would, like, carry the groceries in the house. I would be looking like, oh, okay. So, like, I wasn't expecting that. I can't really say that I have much surprises, honestly.
Experience has just been a variety of all. Like, you got some that, because they fighting their own demons, don't want to open up. You know what I'm saying? So, or one day, they try to keep their business closed-minded. And we done have people that's crying out for help. Like, help me. You know what I'm saying? Whether they doing it on social media, in the schools, and personally, like I said, like getting back to that village, man, I feel like the structure on every level kind of is broken right now, whether it's the school system, community, you know what I'm saying, church. Like, it just seemed like everything right now, we don't got nothing that's solid, like, you know what I'm saying? So you get different results from different people, because some people, they say pressure break pipes.
So with the Mustard Seed Foundation, when I got involved into it, it was Shondale definitely taking these inner city kids who I wouldn't say that they were all less fortunate per se, but they needed something to do, for the summer, instead of, I guess, what we used to do during the summer, be bad, with nothing to do, no direction, whatever the case may be. So anytime that I seen her talk about it on Facebook or social media, I was like, man, I got to get involved, because that was just super dope what she was doing. So, she had this summer camp for the Mustard Seed Foundation, and she would like get all of these kids from, I don't know where they came from, but it was a lot of them. And she would just, still teach them during the summer and, mold them and groom them and just give them some structure. Because when you get out of school, that structure is gone depending on, what you got going on at home. So that's where I came in at. It was just, hey, take one seed and who knows what can grow from it.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace, healing, and light. And for those who may not know what Assalamu alaikum is, it's just peace be unto you. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another episode of Healing with Angelica's podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And if you are new to the show, welcome, 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 beautiful souls. On today's episode, we have a beautiful, a loving, and courageous guest joining us today, Shondale Atkinson, as we'll be discussing today's topic, Beyond the System, a Journey Through Foster Care. Shondale, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Oh, I feel amazing. I am so grateful to be on the show with you today. And I just appreciate you even having this topic because it's just time to talk about it. So thank you. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely a discussion well needed. So I'm so grateful to have you on the show and cannot wait to discuss. So thank you so much. Praise be to God. And for the viewing audience who do not know who my guest is, I will share a brief bio. So, Shondale Atkinson is a visionary advocate, entrepreneur, and champion for youth empowerment. Driven by her own life experience in the foster care system, as the founder and CEO of the Mustard Seed Foundation, she has dedicated her life to change the lives of young people by providing critical support in residential care, health and wellness outreach, and preventive education. Shondale's foundation is more than a service. It's a lifeline for youth who face the same obstacles she once did. Raised in foster care and becoming a teen mother, Shondale immediately understands the uphill battle faced by young women in the system. These experiences sparked her deep commitment to making sure others wouldn't have to struggle alone. With nothing more than the faith of a mustard seed, she founded the Mustard Seeds Foundation, which has since flourished into a beacon of hope for teen mothers and unserved youth, showing them that their past don't define their future. In addition to her work of the Mustard Seed Foundation, Shondale created Cardio Kids Camp, a summer program that installs the importance of a physical health and cultural awareness in children ages 5 to 13. Her relentless pursuit of wellness expanded further after her lupus diagnosis in 2015. Turning her personal health challenges into purpose, she launched I might say this wrong.
Serendipity.
There we go. Serendipity Community Care LLC in 2019, a wellness clinic specialized in cannabis-based therapies and holistic healing, giving others the tools to take control of their health. Shondale's advocacy has reached new heights with her latest endeavor, Beyond the System, a journey through foster care. This powerful documentary sheds light on the foster care experience through the eyes of foster children, parents, and social workers calling for systematic change. Beyond the System isn't just a film. It's a call to action for reform and awareness, giving voice to those often overlooked. As a devoted mother of 2 daughters and a respected leader in her community, Shondale is recognized as a woman to watch in Ohio. Her story is one of the resilience, faith, and transformation. Providing with determination, you can turn adversity, into impact. Shondale Atkinson works is more than a mission. It's a movement towards healing, empowerment, and a bright future for generations to come. Oh my God, that was such a beautiful bio. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Now let's get started on today's episode, Beyond the System, a journey through foster care. And please, for my audience today, do not, I say this all the time, do not hesitate to put any questions you may have for our guests in the comment section below. Mm-hmm. So today I am so excited to welcome Shondale, the creator of Beyond the System, a journey through foster care. Her powerful documentary reveals the challenges within the foster care system while amplifying the voice of children, parents, and advocates. Through her work, Shondale is inspiring much needed change and fostering impact in communities. Join us today as we explore her inspiration for the project, the story behind it, and how we can all contribute to the change and healing of foster care. So that brings me to my first question for you, Shondale. I always go to the root, right? Like, what got you started? Like, let's hear the background story. So if you don't mind, just letting us know, like, what was the beginning of your healing journey when you started this documentary? Could you give us an insight of just your journey being in the foster care system?
Yes. So that's kind of loaded, but I'm going to go back to when I was born. Pretty much, I was born in 1977, but I was born into the foster care system. Mm-hmm. So my mother already had an open case when I was born, and my older siblings had already been going in and out of foster homes. And one of the challenges is by the time when the 80s hit and the crack era came in, as you've seen in that video, it just really my mother was one of those ones who fell victim to the crack era. And so that just began our journey of what it looked like to have a revolving door in different foster homes. So I was in 21 different foster homes total before I came out at 18 as a single teenage mom. And, you know, the challenge was that I was trying to figure out life by myself. I had been separated from my siblings, so we don't have a relationship. And you know, again, my mother's been on drugs all my life. She's still on drugs today. So I'm trying to now figure out life as an 18-year-old, you know, single mom coming out of foster care. And now what am I going to do for me and my daughter? And so I went back to school and I pretty much became, started working in the medical field, but I kept feeling this tugging in my heart where God was like, okay, there's something else. Like, and he had already shown me back in like 1999 that I was going to be starting this residential facility for teenage moms. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't want parts of that. Are you sure, God? And he was absolutely positive. And so I went through that journey of working in the medical field, but it just kept coming back to me. So in 2007, I began the work of opening up the only residential parenting facility in Ohio at the time. And it started from there. That's pretty much where my healing journey began, was in 2007.
Oh wow, I love that. I love that. And as you were talking, right, I'm listening to I'm just imagining everything that you went through psychologically, having to go through 21 different foster homes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you being 18, being a single mom, like, could you just explain just how you were able to, because of course I believe you got to a point where you were able to understand and accept the situation for what it was, but was there something in you that allowed you to accept the situation and use it as a way to help others?
I believe a calling is different because sometimes it's no choice in the matter. One of the things I had to accept was that, you know, I remember when I first finally took my first client, and she came into the Mustard Seed Foundation, and she's this 13-year-old girl. And it was interesting because one of the things I'm talking about when I say this case was one of the most frustrating cases that I had seen, because there was everything from prostitution to, you know, a lot of physical abuse that she had been through, sexual abuse that she had been through. So trying to break through this wall and penetrate to her heart was just so hard. But like, I had this passion for her, and I was like, why am I fighting so hard for this girl? And the one thing that God made me understand very early on in my service with Mustard Seed Foundation was that there wouldn't be a client that came through the door that wasn't experiencing what I had already gone through. So, you know, I had to know what it felt like to live in a homeless shelter. I knew what it felt like to be in a cracking environment, like where everything was going on, where we was being molested, we were being raped with my mother. You know, my oldest brother was selling me at one point for sex. And so it was like a lot of things, traumatic situations that I had been through. So every single girl that came in, it was like, I'm looking at myself. And so God had to bring all of that to me when I was talking about this client. And he was like, this is why you were called to do it, was because every single thing they're going through, from having a parent on drugs to having a parent, you know, an absent father, to being separated from siblings, to being molested in homes, to being raped, to being homeless, you've had to encounter. I made sure, God, I am God. I made sure you experienced every single part of it. So that way, when they came in, you could identify and you could really relate to what it was that they were experiencing. So, you know, to me, it was just a calling that I couldn't escape from. So I tried. I was like, I don't want to do this. And God was like, yeah, you're the one. You're the chosen one. You're the one I chose. And I understand your path has been really tough, but I'm about to show you why. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how you said that, because you said, like, and I'm saying, not saying it's verbatim, but like sometimes like our path is already kind of chosen for us. Like God need you to do this work, you know, and it may not have been the idea, but it's needed, right? And I can only imagine how helpful you've been to so many young girls and women, especially in today's world now, with just the things that our women are going through, and even what our women have been through just in general, right?
Yeah.
So, um, going into my next question, if you guys have any questions from our sister, please put it in the comment section below as well. Now, what are some of the biggest challenges within the foster care system that you have uncovered while being in the foster care system, and also while working on your documentary?
So one of the biggest challenges and my reason for doing Beyond the System was because of my own experiences in foster care, where I felt so invisible all the time. And it was like everything about that experience devalued me as a human. As a little girl, like I had no rights to my own body. I told them that I was being molested by my foster father, who was also in ministry at the time.
Mm.
I loved church as a young lady. Like anywhere that you could always find me at church. And I'm going to always get to a church building when I was younger. So the fact that he had been doing it for so long, like I was 6 years old, by the time I was about 8, and I think it was because of the fact that he raped me in the church that affected me the most. And it was like I was just broken.
Mm.
And then I told my caseworker about it. Well, my mom told my caseworker because we had a visit with my biological mother, and she noticed that I was having some issues, and I was telling her how much pain I was having. And so she talked to my caseworker about it. My caseworker told my mother that I was lying, that I had made everything up, that this was a good Christian man, that he would not do that, so on and so forth. And so when they removed me from that house, they removed me more based off of punishment. And so again, they put me in one of the worst foster care, one of the worst homes that they could have placed me in. And, you know, at that point, I learned to just be quiet and not say anything, because I blamed myself for a very long time for my siblings and I being separated. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. You know what I'm saying? If we're ever able to given the opportunity to come back together, I don't want to be the reason why we were separated. So I'll just take it. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the biggest problems that I find in the system, is that kids don't even have a voice, and they don't have an advocate. And the people that are supposed to be advocating for you and protecting you, like you came in there and removed me from my mother's home and then put me in a home that was worse. So, and these people are literally getting paid to keep kids. That's a big challenge with the system, is that, you know, your caseworkers, they're not honest about their role of traumatizing kids. And that's one of the things that we want to really talk about. And, you know, I had to tell my mother this when I started to do the film, because a lot of what I speak about, she felt like it was an attack against her. I had to make sure that my mother understood, and I may not ever be able to get that through to her. But, you know, I had to make sure my mother understood that, mommy, it's not just about you. It's a systemic issue that has to be addressed, and it's my job to do it. You know what I mean? And so you just happen to be the vessel that gave birth to 5 kids, and you fell victim to a systemic, you know, oppression. You know, crack was purposefully done in our community, and you just fell victim to that. But it's also generationally. My mother grew up in foster care. So, and I look at, you know, she was in foster care when it was more institutionalized, like the whole Sean Acres and things of that nature. My mother's mother passed away when she was 2. So, you know, it was just like looking at this in a generational way. But then I'm looking at each one of my siblings, and all of us are struggling in different ways to try to have an understanding of what just happened to us. And there is no understanding of that. You know what I mean? So to me, it was like, I just have to be able to package this film in a way that, again, is not so much as like targeting anyone or talking bad about anyone, as much as it is, these are the things within the system that needs to be corrected. And these are some of the things that we need to be talking about. Yeah.
And you brought up that even your mother was in a foster care system. And, you know, sometimes I think about just the fact of the matter is how sometimes, you know, we don't see it, but sometimes we are carrying on habits just of, you know, our parents and things that they've been through. And unconsciously, We
Yeah.
put ourselves in these situations and we're going through the same exact thing. It's like history is repeating itself, right? Wow. So I'm glad you brought that up. It takes me to my next question here for you. Like, how do you think media and storytelling, in which that is what you're doing today, storytelling can continue to play a role in fostering empathy, which is needed in the foster care, and driving systematic change?
Mhm. So one of the things that I think the storytelling does, and this is interesting because I've tried for a long time to get my story across. I was trying to write a book and I stopped. I was doing a movie about myself and I stopped. And I just had to come to, I had to sit still for a minute and let God really speak to me about the purpose of this film. And he had to let me know that Shondale is not just about you.
Mm.
You're about to tell your story, but the thing about it is I need you to understand that there's a village that's in pain. And you are the catalyst by which their voices can be heard. So, I had to step up and be bold because I was very afraid. I was very doubtful of myself. I'm like, I ain't never did nothing in media or none of that and talk. And, one of the things was I didn't want to lose my family. It was people that didn't want me to do this film, my mother included. But this time, the one thing that God did for me that ended up happening in this particular situation was that he aligned me with other people who had similar trauma.
Mm.
And when he aligned me with those people, I had accountability partners where I could not quit. And that was one of the things that he kept trying to show me. Like, if you just take the first step, I'll show you how I'm going to make this easier for you. And again, it ain't that it's easy, but it is like my burden is lighter now that I'm doing it the way that God wants me to do it. And I've been able to have other people come in and align with this vision. And we all are just coming to the table saying, we just want to talk. We just want to talk about it. We're tired of being, bullied into being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Tired of the system. We're tired of these judges sitting on these benches and not looking at us when we walk into the courtrooms. I can remember them calling me a crack baby when I was 8. And I was like, a white lady in the courtroom, she like, well, she can't speak for herself because she's a crack baby. And I'm like, who the hell you calling a crack baby?
Okay.
And that was the first time I heard this term. And I was like, wow. So now I have that in my energy that I'm a crack baby, so I can't stand up or I can't talk. So there are these things that are happening within these rooms when there is no one to really stand up for you. And you're in these schools and they're thinking that you're just a bad kid and you're not, but you haven't eaten in 2 days. You ain't even seen your mother in 2 or 3 days. It was weeks that we would go without seeing my mother. And we would just be living in these abandoned houses and people would be fussing at us when we got to school late. And it was like, I'm running a paper out at 8 years old and I have to come home and get my little sister ready and make sure we get to school. And I'm in the 4th grade. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but nobody never really stopped to be like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I just think the storytelling is so important because it also helps others who are currently living through it to see that this isn't your final destination.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to just keep walking. I need you to keep believing. I need you to keep praying. I need you to keep having faith. I just need you to just stay here. And so that's what this is. I'm hoping that this film does. It's just, hey, if you having thoughts of harming yourself, or if you don't think that you're worthy, or if you don't think you have value, look at this film and look at the people that's in it. And we've made it over. And we're going to help you make it over too. So, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. It's that faith. It's that faith. And within everything that you've been through, and like I said, how mentally traumatizing that can be for you, you use your experience and you're using your experience again to be that catalyst of change for those that are in need of it. Because I believe, because I think we all kind of suffer from it just when we're told to, keep our mouth closed, or when our opinions as children don't matter. It keeps us to a point to where we don't want to share, or we're afraid to share because of, we may get in trouble, or just to know that our thoughts don't matter. Right. So I'm glad that you brought up just the fact of the matter, how our voices matter. So it has to be somebody. That's why I said my courageous Shondale, had to be somebody that's bold enough to speak on it. Yeah. So again, you being that catalyst of change and to speak about what's going on in the foster care system is very important. I'm so grateful. And if you all are enjoying this episode just as well as I am already, oh my God, this story is so beautiful. Please, 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 please show your support by donating today and texting the word donate to 937-313-2466. And if you are enjoying all of the broadcasts here on CTGB Network, please show your support as well. Information to donate will be shown on the screen below. I love you all. Now let's get back to today's episode, Beyond the System, a journey through foster care with Shondale Atkinson. Yes, yes, yes. So as you were talking, I was thinking, and this brings me to my next question. We see that there's a high rise in group homes. I'm seeing that a lot here, in the city in Dayton, right? And group home, they have their benefits, and we're grateful for these group homes. But what do you believe is the real cause as to the high rate of foster care? Like, why are we seeing this so much? Is there something that we need to do so we can lower, having to send our children to foster care? What are your thoughts on that?
So there's this thing called prevention. And, so the answer I'm going to give is two parts.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we see right now with a lot of our teenagers going into foster care was done, again, systemic. Back in the 80s when they started to snatch the discipline from parents' hands and saying, you can't discipline your kid, or, hey, if your mommy whooped you or your daddy whooped you, call 911, call us. They got the little McGruff the dog out there at all the schools. How it's like. The challenge with that was it was not abuse. It was literally, Black people had a handle on their children in our community. And when the parents didn't do it, your neighbors understood the assignment. So, they weren't seeing a lot of us going into the prison system. That wasn't the issue for us. We were disciplined in a way that was really making sure that they were keeping their kids. We were going to school, we were behaving in school. That all that educational, the problems that we're seeing now in educational system was not, we didn't see that back then. So today, now this is the generation, we're that generation of ones who literally was, okay, if your mom is whooping you, call the police. Now our children are second generation from that. We see great third generations from that. So now we have an undisciplined community, and no one can discipline these kids. You can't holler at them. You can't spank them. You can't school and put them in punishment. You can't do anything. And again, what do you think is going to happen when you have an undisciplined community? You're not disciplining them, someone else is. And it's systemically set up that the court system and the judicial system already knew that they wanted to be the parent of Black kids. They already knew that they wanted to, lock us away in facilities. And that's one of the reasons why you're seeing this upheaval in this whole children's services in this industry. Foster parents are not equipped to take these kids into the house because they've been medicating them since they was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have kids that are 6 that are in mental health facilities with 17-year-olds. So now you have kids that are being introduced to being molested, being raped in these facilities, being beat up, all of these things that are happening to them, traumatic situations. And now you're taking and trying to put them in foster homes. Okay, you either have to have a treatment home or a group home, because again, your foster parents are not equipped to deal with what this system is creating on purpose. The foster care system to me is the biggest human trafficking system nationally. So you have to think about it. If you were wanting to, molest or rape kids, if that's what you wanted to do, it's so easy to do, to become a foster parent. You got kids at your disposal all the time that nobody listens to, nobody cares about, and it's so easy. So, when I'm looking at the group homes, a lot of the people that's getting into them, it's that plan B to be like, I don't want to work anymore on anybody else's clock, so I'm going to go open up a group home. And that's a challenge. But again, a lot of, I look at it and say, well, if we're going to be talking about group homes, then let's talk about the system first. You know, you guys structured it this way where these are not little innocent kids that are now coming into the system. These are teenagers who's putting themselves in the system, who's picking up the phone, calling, hey, my mom took my game station. I'm calling the police on you. You know what I mean? Or, hey, my mom's trying to make me go to school, or my mom's punishing me for grades. Like, oh, my friend said she called children's services on her mama and they came and got her. And, you know, so a lot of my girls and kids that come in, I'm like, okay, you put yourself into the system. Not these little innocent babies who crack hit and this was the challenge. This is all behavioral issues at this point. You know what I mean? Undisciplined. So, you know, I don't know what their plan is, because I know they're talking about trying to lower the, and I told them 5 years ago they were going to have a group home issue in this city, in this county, and nobody listened. And now you guys want to start talking about the group home issue. I'm not coming to the table for that. I'm on the outside of that conversation. So, you know.
Yes, listen. Because you knew what the issue was going to be.
Yeah.
So I listen. So, as you were speaking, you know, so typically you guys, I'm gonna keep it real. Typically, you know, I usually script, have everything down, got my questions right. But I usually allow God to just feed my mind with whatever question is need to be asked based off the conversation, right? So as I'm just in, wow, I'm so grateful we're having this conversation. Just real quick, my mother, she actually decided to adopt my two little cousins. Unfortunately, my auntie had an issue, or, you know, is still going through her healing journey. So she decided to step up to take on my little cousins, because she didn't want to see them in a foster care system. At a point in time, my youngest cousin, he was 2 when he came in. He didn't know how to speak. So my mother was just afraid of, you know, what if something happened to him and he can't tell, you know, anyone what happened. And then, you know, you're going into, you know, kind of depth in as to, you know, how children at that age and time, when they're in a foster care system, they're rarely listened to.
Yeah.
And they don't really take heed to what the children do say. So, you know, salute to all of, you know, the ones that's wanted to step up to really love and take care of children that are in that situation. But that brings me to the next question for you. How important, because in the video, I seen that you had a conversation with a therapist. How important is therapy for children that are in the foster care system that has been through such a traumatic experience? Like, I can only imagine like how traumatic that can be for children at a young age going through the foster care system and not actually having that source of outlet to speak and talk, and using a tool like therapy.
Therapy, and this is one of the reasons why every girl that comes into my facility is assigned a therapist. It's required. You have to go to therapy in my facility. Your kids, we do family therapy. We invite their family member, if their mom, if there's a reunification, even if there's no reunification plan. But, you know, we want to have a better communication with your mom, because, again, you will be transitioning out of care. And we do want to build a more supportive system around you. And we want to try to help you mend some of these broken fences before you leave here. And we want to be able to talk to your parent about some of the things, some of the ways that they can help you transition out of foster care, and y'all try to sustain, build a family again. So every young lady that comes in has a therapist. Now, the challenge is that's not the situation in foster. Like, I don't remember ever seeing a therapist. I remember one day my caseworker told my little sister that she was going to have to go to counseling because my sister at this time had started smoking weed. My sister was like 15 years old. We're on our way to go to this therapy office, wherever she's taking my little sister and I to this therapy office. Again, I'm like 17, my little sister's like 15. And I remember my little sister jumps out the car right there on Main Street and takes off running. And I was like, what the heck? But, and I think about that, like, well, why weren't we offered therapy before we got to teenage years? You know what I mean? Like, there's something that you could have done before to be able to help us, Again, it was like, y'all would come and get us in the middle of the night, police car come, we got white people that's got us, and they putting us in these rooms, and they're kind of treating us like we're criminals. And then we are in these strange homes and we don't know what just happened. And so, you know, I just think the system needs to do a better job at making sure that every kid, when they enter the door of foster care, they're assigned a therapist. And they say that they do that, but they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's sad because it is a much needed tool for this system. You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, our voices matter.
Yeah.
Our voices matter. I believe our voices have been so suppressed for so long.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back, like you said, generations.
Yeah.
Just how much we just been suppressed of just being able to outwardly express ourselves, even through just situations as such, you know, as our children being in foster care, right?
Yeah.
So my sister Jenny and E Muhammad asked, because I don't think the documentary has came out yet, right?
It hasn't. It'll be out the spring, March of 2025. Yeah.
March of 2025. So if y'all listening, go ahead and put that in the comment box. March of 2025, spring.
The social work month. Yes.
Okay. Now, for those who are not in the city, how could like they watch it?
So the goal is going to be that we're wanting to put it on the streaming network. So that's currently what we're working on now. We're in the editing phases of the film. We just got finished doing all of our interviews and recording. So we are in the editing phases, but the goal is that we also get it onto a streaming network. So that's why I'm working really hard to raise the funds to do what I need to do to get this in a streaming network, but then also to host it again to show the premiere down at the Neon. So yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And as my sister is speaking, you guys, please support my sister. Support my sister in this beautiful, beautiful film. Because I know it's not a lot. I have a lot of different followers from around the world. So we want to catch this around the world too.
Yes.
Gotta support my sister, man. Support my sister. And I'm gonna go on to my next question. But if you don't mind just sharing to our audience, how can we support you?
So we have a GoFundMe that is, that's currently active. It is on my website, and again, I'll put that in the chat. The GoFundMe link, and that's what we're asking right now is that people just give what they can, whatever God places on your heart to give. I don't care if it's $1. I don't care where it is. Every seed helps. And then the other part is advocate for this film.
Mm-hmm.
Tell people to go watch it. And if you have a group home, even in this area, bring your young people to watch it. If you're a teacher and you have foster care youth in your classroom or in your building as a principal, encourage, come and view the film together as, with your students. And so I want the people that need to, the young people that need to know that this film is for them. It's for them. It's not for Shondale. It's for them. And I want to make sure that they have the opportunity to see it. So I'm looking for sponsorships. So that way, even with kids that are in foster care, I want them to come be able to view the film without having to pay to watch it. So that's one of the things right now I'm looking at, sponsorships and also, the GoFundMe account.
Yes. Praise be to God. We are definitely going to support my sister. And I'm going to be sure to add this information in the comment section below. I can't do it right now, but I will after the show. So definitely make sure you support my sister. Praise be to God. So take me to my next question. Got a few more questions before we end today's show, right? So how has this documentary, and you actually haven't debuted it yet. However, giving your perspective, how has this documentary inspired the empathy and change for healing in the community?
Oh, goodness. So one of the things is that I'm so grateful because I'm talking about when I say I was so afraid to do this film, because I'm talking about like people really, I've lost, relationships behind this. And that was never the goal. Like when I first originally started looking at doing this film, it was going to be my my 4 siblings. It was going to be the 5 of us and my mom. And it just didn't go that way. So I had to push through this and have, the understanding. First of all, I had to do it by myself. But then again, God showed me like, you're not doing it by yourself. And so the empathy that is drawn for the hearts of people like Brother Stephen Muhammad, who is co-producing this film with me. And then I was putting up a few posts, and it was just people that was just, hitting me like, hey, let me know if I can help you. So like Angela Davis, who's done films also in Dayton and does stage plays. And, even with them sitting in the room and helping me, I can see the change in their, I can see the empathy in them. I can see that, Tiffany Countryman, who does my creative director, and Thomas Troutman, and they're sitting in a room and they're hearing these interviews, and they like, we had no idea. Like, I had no idea. And Steve Muhammad was on my board. And so it was only right that I was like, okay, Steven had done interviews with me before on his shows. And so I just went to him and asked him, would he help me do this film? And so just watching them receive this and just seeing the empathy in them, I know that when others view this film, that it's going to have a domino effect where it's going to, it's just people, and these people that you work with, these are people that you live next door to. These are people that you work in schools with. Like, you don't know what they've been through. And so when people like Ryan Harrison don't know, like, he's this big fitness guy, but people don't know that what he came from. They don't know that he was in foster care, and that, we literally, when we talk about getting it out the mud, like, we had to get it out the mud, literally. So, the empathy that I want the world to feel from this is, again, I don't want you to just feel sad. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you, because that's not what this film is for. This film is to empower you to change, to want to be a part of a change agent. I want you to be these kids in the schools and put a face to the fact that, okay, yes, they're in foster care, but if this was my baby, what would I say to them? You know what I mean? And so I want the empathy to create change. And I want the call to action to be that we're holding our local politicians accountable for making sure that they're overseeing children's services in this area. We want to make sure that your oversight, that you are holding them accountable for making sure that those policies and procedures are being met, that they are actually doing these home visits. We've seen where these caseworkers will lie and say that they went out and did home visits, and they hadn't. They need to be punished for that. If there is a child that ended up being murdered behind in a foster home, and that you guys had custody of this child, because you would charge the parent if that was the case. If my parent in my own home did something to harm me, it wouldn't have been no question. My mother would have been standing in front of a judge facing murder charge, or you know what I mean? So when it's on your watch, nobody faces charges for that. Nobody is standing in front of a judge and having to be held accountable for watching these kids suffer, and nothing was done. The Tacola Collins, there should have been a whole lot of people in Montgomery County that went down behind that case. And we're continuing to see them covering up stuff and doing things that are unethical and illegal within these systems, and nobody faces punishment for this. And that's what I want to happen. I want there to be reforms around these policies. If I'm a foster home or a group home, I'm required to do certain things. As a caseworker, you should be required too. So I just want us to really look at this system and say, hey, we have to call to action that these are children. These are our kids. These are our babies. And we're no longer going to stand by and act like we don't see it. We see you. We see you.
Whew. Just thinking about it, like, the children are our future, and we have to advocate for them. Just like you said, we have to really look deeper into ourselves, and also look deeper into, if we were in that situation, or we had a child or knew someone that was in the system, like, we should be able to advocate to be that, again, that catalyst for change. So beautiful. I love it. This was so deep, so in depth. And I love the fact that, we're advocating for change, and also we want to hold people accountable.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. We have to hold these people accountable, because it's within situations that, we may not even know that's really happening behind the scenes. but it's behind those situations, and then you wind up and find a child deceased or some hard situation that done happened
Yeah.
because they didn't want to stand up. They didn't want to be accountable, or they're not taking their job seriously, right? So I'm so glad we're talking about this, because this is so important to discuss, because like I said, it's a lot of children, like the youth, the children, again, they are our future,
Yeah.
and we need them and they need us, right? We have to come back and build that village again. So before we end the show, I did have one last question here for you, my sister. What advice would you give to a young teen who is in the foster care system, who is not happy with their situation and has lost hope?
Mm. The one thing I'll say, and it sounds cliche, but honestly, it's really just don't give up. Like, and I remember, one day I was speaking and I said these words that like your promise is on the opposite side of your fear. And the thing is, like, everything within foster care is temporary. You know what I mean? It doesn't determine where you're going to end up or what you're going to be. And I love the fact that I could look at some of my teenage moms, and they're truck drivers and they're nurses and they are teachers, and these are amazing young people. And I thank God for being able to give me the mission in my heart to be able to service them. But I thank God for allowing them to come in and change my life. Every girl that I had changed me in a different way. It matured me in a different way. It healed me in a different way. So, I want them to know that, you're going to help to heal somebody, and you have an accountability to do that. And your circumstances is not your destination. So don't let them take you out of here while you're in motion to what your promises look like. You know what I mean? As long as your feet is moving and as long as you're still here, you have purpose, and don't let them kill the purpose in you before you get to know what it is. Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm. Spoke to my heart, sister. Woo!
Yeah.
Lord. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So beautiful. OMG. Praise be to God. Shondale, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me today to discuss this profound and well needed topic, Beyond the System, a journey through foster care. I would also like to thank my amazing audience and Healing Tribe for joining us today. I pray that this episode was informative, valuable, and of course, and always, healing to you all. Also, be sure to share, like, follow, and subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast station. CTG broadcast on YouTube, and Healing with Angelica on Facebook and YouTube to help spread the light of healing to others in need. This is a small little picture, but y'all make sure y'all subscribe, right? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, right? So y'all can make sure y'all, if y'all missed this show, y'all can go ahead and press that replay button, right? Also, if you are ready to start your healing journey and don't know where to start, Healing with Angelica is here to assist, right? So, get started on your healing journey today with my one-on-one, the Healing Journey program, by texting the word READY to 937-313-2466. With that is a free 15-minute consultation call, which also includes the free Healing Journey checklist. Also, be sure to join the Healing Tribe, right? I got a few merch here as well. Join the Healing Tribe, you guys, by texting the word tribe to 937-313-2466. And here's just a few pictures of me in the Healing Tribe fit. See, I'll make sure y'all get that as well. And this was also pictures from my last event. Just had it this past Saturday. Praise be to God. It was a beautiful success, you guys. Woo! Praise be to God. Hopefully, inshallah, we can continue to have these events to help our women in the cause of healing, right? Also, my new ebook Thrive is available for purchase directly or on Amazon. So if you are ready to learn how to reconnect with self and God, get your copy today by texting the word Thrive to 937-313-2466. And one last thing. Today only, you guys, I am giving away 5 free bean pies. So you have to be local because I'm not shipping. So if you're local and like to get a free bean pie, listen, y'all had that sweet potato pie. Listen, y'all gonna love this bean pie too. Don't right? So if you're interested, just comment the word pie in the comment section below. We was over here in Edgemont at the time, was giving some pies away that day. So yeah. All right, Shondale, before we end today's show, do you have any closing remarks for our audience today, where our audience can follow you? Give us your where we can support you again. Anything, just give us some good closing remarks.
I am so grateful for you, Queen, and I am just going to continue to pray a hedge of protection around you, and that your crown chakra be blessed. Everything from your crown to your root will be blessed. And I just love you. I love everything that you're doing. I am going to purchase your book because I want it.
Oh, praise be to God.
So grateful for you having me on today. People can follow me on Facebook. The Wellness Lady is my page. You can also, the name of my website is thewellnesslady.com. That is where you can find the information about Beyond the System. You can find the GoFundMe link. You can find the trailer on there also. So, reach out to me, and, I would love to work with anybody or do any other podcast that someone else may have. Please have the Wellness Lady on. So thank you so much for everything.
Oh my gosh, praise be to God. Thank you so much, sis. This was such a beautiful topic, very well needed dialogue that was needed to have. And I'm praying, and I know for sure Allah has his hands on you in this whole beautiful situation. Like, I know he's going to bless you with this, and I'm praying that Allah feed you with much success in this journey of healing, because like I said, and I even have it on here as my quote: healing is a journey, but you should not have to heal alone, right? So we're all on this healing journey together, sis. So I'm here for you. I can't wait. You need anything, let me know. We together, right? Because I support you in this film because it's so well needed. So praise be to God. And I just want to thank you all for joining us today. And we leave you all as we came. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, healing, and light.